Rain threat increasing for the east coast of Sri Lanka on this tropical weather bulletin. And now the latest around the wide world of tropics. Tropical weather bulletin for January 31st. So the month looks like it's going to end without an active storm, with the remnants of Cheneso speeding off down towards the southeast there near the Kerguelen Islands, and nothing else as an active tropical cyclone right now. But we have three low chances of development in the next 5 days, which we'll look at in a moment. 121 days until hurricane season restarts in the Atlantic, and thankfully there's still nothing to look at there. A lot of cloud cover off the eastern seaboard of the United States though, a frontal system powering off towards the northeast. Looking towards the areas of interest then in the southern hemisphere, we've got a 20% chance close to Australia. Further out to sea there's a 30% chance. That's much more likely to develop in the long term, and it's not going to move very much. The one on the right hand side will probably move towards Australia gradually after moving westward at first. And then of course is the disturbance in the North Indian Ocean, which our team haven't marked for any chances of regeneration, as they call it, as it appears that it may have been a brief tropical cyclone. I'm still very cynical about that, but nonetheless there could be a chance that it could become a tropical cyclone again, and then threaten the coast of Sri Lanka. And down in the cyclone graveyard is the remnants of Cyclone Cheneso at around 43 degrees south there, powering off towards the southeast. Let's check latest satellite imagery worldwide, and you can see where the hotspots are right now. Look for some red zones there. Looks like the northern coast of Borneo, and you can certainly see that disturbance in the southern Indian Ocean there. Thankfully only water sea areas are underneath that big red splurge in those latest frames. Now here's a close-up imagery of this potential cyclone that's heading through the Bay of Bengal, and you can see there it's being sheared quite a lot to the northwest. Not much rotation that we're seeing right now. The convection is still blowing up as well as it can though, and it continues to move gradually towards the northwest. It will curve westwards and then move into Sri Lanka, probably around halfway along the coast there, and then impact inland and then continue westwards or southwestwards towards the south, towards Colombo, and then out over the Laccadive Sea. It could be, though, more than anything, a significant rain threat, so keep watching out for that one closely. We'll take a look at the models in a minute. And these are the two areas of interest in the southern hemisphere. South of Java on the right hand side, you can see that disturbance there pushing on a little bit of convection, and on the left hand side is that 30% chance system, which is blowing up huge amounts of convection this morning as it is local time, looking very decent indeed, but not much rotation with that. Let's check the sea surface temperatures. Look out for temperatures of 79 or higher. That's in Fahrenheit. That's 26 in Celsius. That's the threshold usually required for tropical cyclone development. And you can see there's a few temperatures that are decent enough in the Caribbean Sea and in the Eastern Pacific, but as we know at this time of year, it is like a needle in a haystack to try and find storms that form at this time of year in the Atlantic. It's extremely rare. Southwest Indian Ocean, look out for any further systems. Well, nothing yet, but temperatures are certainly good enough. 28 degrees Celsius, pushing 29 off the east coast of Madagascar, and out towards the rest of the Indian Ocean, out at sea as well in the high seas. 28 degrees is around about your maximum. In the Bay of Bengal, temperatures looking decent as well, 27 degrees, probably a little bit higher actually. And along the coast of northern Australia, temperatures are very warm indeed, 28 to 29 degrees Celsius. Pushing 30 in the Gulf of Carpentaria. 29 in the Coral Sea, extending southwards, decent temperatures as far as the Whitsunday Islands, and out towards Fiji, temperatures looking good there as well, 29 degrees Celsius towards Samoa, 28, continuing eastwards down to 27. In the Western Pacific as well, temperatures are looking good in the deep tropics across Micronesia, around 28, pushing 29 degrees Celsius. It's 27 to 28 off Guam, and through the southern Philippine Islands it's 27 to 28 as well. Here are the sea surface temperature anomalies. Blue is colder than normal, yellow yellow and orange is warmer than normal. Western Pacific above average there. The La Nina effect still well in play in the Central Pacific tropical zone, where you have those blue areas. The Atlantic is a little bit above average, and the southern hemisphere is hit and miss, but generally above average, apart from the west coast of Madagascar particularly, because that's where Cheneso was. Oceanic heat content looking good in the deep tropics as well, down to Fiji and Vanuatu. Still decent colorings there, green to yellow, a decent amount of energy in there. And in the Western Pacific, very high amounts in the very deep tropics there, extending towards Guam there with a few orange zones, and towards the Philippines eventually. But the hotspot is south of Guam for the tropical zone. Let's check what the GFS has in store for the next few days then. This is the short term, 5 days out. You can see those two cyclonic signatures there. The one moving through Sri Lanka, of course, and then the one at the bottom, that's the one we've just circled. That system is the 30% chance. Look at the top and you'll see that other system moving through Sri Lanka possibly becomes a tropical storm. Look east as well for that 20% system. Looks like something might be in the offing there as well, but it is very disorganized, and I would suggest against at the moment. And looking at Fiji within the 5-day period as well, it's been a bit quiet over there so far this season, but in the 5-day period near the end, around about the 4th, 5th of February, there is a tropical cyclone that spins up almost in its place without moving very much at all to the south of the main islands of Fiji, and eventually becomes a significant tropical cyclone. That's the first part of it within that 5-day period. We'll see the rest in a little moment. Check the rainfall estimates for the Sri Lanka region, and you can see there a concentrated zone of large rainfall accumulations. Whether it happens in that particular spot or not, it might be a little bit further north, bearing in mind the track of this system, and of course it could deviate. But looking on either side of the coast there, and you'll see that potentially 20 inches of rainfall there. That's 500 millimeters on the east coast, and on the west coast we could be looking at 8 inches near Colombo. That's around 200 millimeters. Towards the northeast, around 6 inches there, that's 150 millimeters near Trincomalee. And towards the southeast there, the area particularly affected there is Batikaloa, with significant amounts of rainfall, but those locations could shift. The threat to India itself appears to be rather small, with only trace amounts by the looks of things there, maybe up to 1 inch at most. Longer range, day 10 to 15, and you can see these two cyclones form very quickly, and it's probably still the same two that we've been looking at. And look at them go, both off the coast of Australia, and they stay off the coast, which is good news. Both of them there peak as substantial hurricane equivalent storms. The one on the right hand side, let's watch that one first. That peaks first, and there it is, probably category 3 there on the Saffir-Simpson scale. And on the left hand side, that one there's probably borderline category 2-3, so they're both category 4 or 5 on the Australian scale. There's the Fijian storm moving eastwards eventually, and then down to the southeast, another strong one. All three of those could coexist at the same intensity actually near their peak, so that would be a sight to behold, and thankfully they generally miss land. Of course that one there does make a hit for Tonga though by the looks of things, and that could be hurricane equivalent conditions for the Tonga Islands and for the southern part of Fiji, tropical storm force winds. That's the serious stuff done with. You can take a look at the Force 13 store by scanning the barcode on the top right hand side, and you can take a look at all the usual items, as well as our still waiting for Hone t-shirt and our full season and individual storm animations on request. What have we got in the silly range? Well, take a look at the Madagascar region, the Mozambique Channel. A system does form there and becomes quite powerful, giving me a little bit of Idai vibes, if I'm being honest. And it continues eastwards though, it doesn't move back, at least not initially. It does trace back towards the south near the end of that loop, but certainly a rapidly developing storm there. Peak intensity around category 3, maybe high-end category 3. Landfall in western Madagascar, moves down towards the southeast and then south. Long range, low probability so far. And the remains of that 30% system continues to move southwestwards, and eventually It does survive a little bit, and then there it is dying off actually, and then merging in with another system right down the bottom left hand side there, possibly that same system we were looking at in the Mozambique Channel. And just look to the right hand side now on the second loop of this, you'll see a new system forming south of Java. There it is, starting to move its way down there, and then it really catches on a little bit later. No, it's another system actually, potentially 3 systems at the end there. A bit of a mess near Australia once again, but that is long range and not likely. You can discuss all of that, quite a lot tonight, on our Discord server, discord.gg/force13, as well as any weather chat. We're here for it all. Well, what happened on this day? It was January the 31st, 2018. One of my favourite picturesque cyclones, Cyclone Sibyl, peaking as a low-end Category 4 with 130 mph winds on this day, and there it was at first light on the 31st on that image. Cyclone Fahey was also active, about to die out as it headed towards New Zealand. It was turning post-tropical at this moment in time, but Sibyl was the main attraction on this day 5 years ago now. Remarkable that it's been so long already. Back to today, and the first name on this year's Atlantic naming list is Arlene. In the Eastern Pacific, Adrian. And in the Central Pacific, we are still waiting for Hone. And that will be 5 years next year. I doubt we'll get that far, but who knows. In the Western Pacific, Sanvu is up next. The North Indian Ocean, Mocha. Still doesn't look too likely that we'll see it out of this current system, but who knows. And we are code blue currently for that one right now. 5 storms so far this year, 92 is the average. The Australian region, the next name is Freddy. The Southwest Indian Ocean, Dingani. And in the South Pacific, it's Judy. That's all from tonight's Tropical Weather Bulletin. We'll be back again tomorrow night.